Hey, welcome back to The Magic in the Music. I'm Jen.
I'm Randall.
And today we are going to be taking a look at some cost comparisons for Disney Vacation Club. We know that you may be wondering if Disney Vacation Club is right for you, and some of you just want the numbers, you just want to know. And so we've actually brought Randall in to give us a really great breakdown of the relative costs of different options with regard to DVC and hotels at Disney, and we're really excited to share this with you today. We think this is going to be really valuable information for you. So who are we and why are we giving you this information? Well, First of all, we are Disney Vacation Club owners and we really, really enjoy it. We know it's not for everybody, and some of you really grapple with the choice of whether to buy a contract or not. I'm a teacher, so I like to help people learn things. And Randall.
I am an engineer, so I really like numbers. And that is what speaks to me.
And you're really a master at a spreadsheet.
Yeah. This is a life skill of mine.
And making helpful graphs and spreadsheets. So he's a data person. I'm all about learning. So there you go. We are going to show you a series of graphs that are going to compare the relative costs of these different options for staying at Disney. And of course, when we say Disney, we are talking specifically about Disney World in Florida, because that is where the vast majority of the Disney Vacation Club properties are located. Okay, so first things first, what is it that we are comparing? What are the assumptions? What are we looking at?
So our primary assumptions here are that we are looking at a Beach Club Villa studio, and this is for a week-long stay, 7 nights, Sunday to Sunday, September 12th through the 19th.
So this would be a low crowd season, not a busy season, and a low cost season. So that's something to keep in mind.
It's a low cost, but I picked a resort that was in the middle of the cost range.
So now we're going to move on to our first graph. And Randall, why don't you talk us through this first graph? What are we seeing?
This first graph here is a DVC cash stay.
Okay, let's jump in for a second and explain what a DVC cash stay is. So when we use the term cash stay, that means a stay that is booked through Disney. So you call them or you go on their website, you go through their central booking system, and you have booked this room through Disney. You can book both either a hotel room at most Disney Vacation Club resorts, most of them, or you could book a DVC, like a deluxe studio room. And so this particular graph, we are talking about a deluxe studio, so you're getting the exact room that you would have as a DVC member. However, you're booking it through Disney Central Reservations, and you're paying cash for them, just like a hotel.
So this first graph is fairly simple. If you were to rent DVC room using cash each year, for the next 21 years, this is the total cost of how much you would spend over that time. This assumes that the cost will increase by 5.5% annually, which is in line with what Disney typically raises its prices by. In terms of this, you want to keep in mind that the end of that graph, that is the total amount that you have paid over the length of that 21 years.
Now, I'm going to jump in and just address why we would put this number of 21 years. Why would we say 21 years? Well, in the particular situation with Beach Club, that is how many more years a Beach Club contract would have until it expires. So it expires in 2042. And so we chose that number because we were assuming you might consider purchasing that contract and owning it until the day that it expires. So that's why we wanted to make a comparison with a hotel stay or a cash reservation that was the same number of stays.
Yes.
So this first graph is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I think most people probably wouldn't spend the money in this way, but we put it out there just for comparison's sake.
The thing to keep in mind here is that you look at the end of this graph, right? And it is at $175,000.
Okay, we are moving on over to our second graph. And here we are keeping our first line, but we are adding a new line to this graph. And this one is for a regular cash hotel booking. It wouldn't be exactly identical to a DVC room. It wouldn't have the little kitchenette, but it would probably have the 2 queen beds. Very similar footprint, similar sized room. And it would be in the same resort. Different wing, same resort, same amenities, same location, basically. This is your next option, and let's compare these two options.
Yeah, this option you can see is very similar to a DVC cash stay in terms of the tracking, and it has the same assumptions that over over time, it's going to be a 5.5% annual increase in cost. And it is almost the same, but it's a little bit less expensive. We are assuming here that there is a 25% discount, because typically for this style of resort, you might get that this time of year.
It's not uncommon to find some pretty good discounts in the deluxe resorts, which all the Disney Vacation Club resorts are deluxe resorts. And so I think the biggest discount I've ever seen was maybe 35%.
Yeah.
So it can be in that range. That's not unreasonable.
Yeah, but in this case, we said 25%. So if you got no discount, right, this is going to be quite a bit more expensive.
Right. So we've already factored in that room discount.
Yeah.
And one other thing that I want to note is that a huge advantage of this type of stay is that you can book it last minute if it's available. Yeah, you can cancel it last minute, and you can change it last minute. You have the most flexibility, but you are paying a very high price for that flexibility.
So you can see here that the total cost for that type of stay is $161,000 over 21 years. That's a lot of money.
Okay, for our third graph, we're going to be adding in renting Disney Vacation Club points. Did you know that you can rent Disney Vacation Club points? Yes, you can. And it's actually a great option, and a lot of people do this. So there are a couple of different ways that you can do this. You can either find somebody that you know, or maybe you find someone who is willing to rent you points. You kind of do the transaction privately. Or you can find a company, and we'll put a couple of links in the description here, that will facilitate that rental process. And that gives you a little more security and peace of mind. They will match you up with an owner who has points that they can't use, and then they will rent them out to you. You can save a lot of money by doing this. The sacrifice is you lose a lot of flexibility by doing this. But this is still a great option, and we have a lot of friends who have rented points and had really good experiences with it. So let's take a look at the graph here for renting points.
So renting points is similar to doing a cash stay, as you can see. It starts out low, and over time, you can see that it increases with 5.5% annual increases. There are a lot of restrictions with regards to getting points this way.
Yeah, and one thing I just do want to point out is that it's very easy to look at one of these websites for the points rental and look at a cost calculator and say, wow, that's amazing. I think I'm going to go rent an Animal Kingdom value studio, and it's only going to be this much money, and it's such an amazing deal. Well, guess what they don't tell you? You will not get that.
No.
You 100% will not get the cheapest rooms renting, because the fact of the matter is the owners are going to snap up all those rooms before anyone has an opportunity to get those for potential renters. Another thing that we have run into is we know people who wanted to have a stay. Actually, I think it was even Beach Club. A friend wanted to stay at Beach Club, and she was all excited about doing it. And I warned her, you probably aren't going to find a owner who has points to rent there. And she went and looked, and sure enough, nobody had points available at the time. And so, if there's no owner that wants to rent their points at that time period, then you're just out of luck. You could certainly book a different resort, but for those really in-demand resorts like Grand Floridian, Grand Californian, Beach Club, Bay Lake Tower,
Riviera.
Copper Creek, Riviera, those ones, it's going to be difficult to get a rental for those. But a lot of the bigger resorts that have a lot of availability, rental is a wonderful option for you.
It has a much lower total cost at around $75,000.
That's sounding better.
Yeah, that seems a lot more affordable.
Okay, the next graph that we're going to look at is going to be for a Disney Vacation Club direct purchase. Just really quickly, I want to make sure everyone knows that a direct purchase means that you have bought your Disney Vacation Club contract directly from the source, directly from Disney. Okay, so let's take a look at the direct graph, and we're going to add in that line.
Yeah, so the direct graph here, it's a little bit more interesting because you see here there's a high initial cost, and that's what you expect with Disney Vacation Club, is that the initial cost is going to be high, but over time, the cost drops below those of all the other options.
That's very minimal increase.
Right.
And what accounts for that minimal increase that you see?
Those are the annual dues that you pay. And those, I also calculated, those have a 5.5% annual increase as well. So you can see here that each year the cost is still going up slightly, but it's much less than Disney because your 5.5% increase is just on your dues. It's not on the full price of your stay.
So you can see on this graph that really the lines kind of cross at about the sixth. We're calling it the sixth year if we were assuming you stayed once a year for 6 years. So that would be year 6 or stay 6. And beyond that, then you start to really see the savings.
Yes. I think this is really where you can see the benefit of this graph is you can say, okay, if I go 6 times, it's worth it for me to have a direct contract. But if I'm going to go less than that in 21 years, then maybe it's a better option to find another way to stay.
Yeah. I also want to add that we have a whole separate video that talks about purchasing direct versus resale Disney Vacation Club contracts. So maybe you're wondering about that. Maybe you haven't heard about that before.
Yeah.
And we have the scoop for you in another video, which we will link right up here. And we are moving to our final graph. And on this final graph, we are adding in a line for Disney Vacation Club resale purchase. So this is assuming that you have purchased a contract that was previously owned by another DVC owner. They chose to sell it. You purchased it, you paid a lower price than if you had bought it directly from Disney, but it took longer. It was a bit more involved. It was a bit more work.
Yeah.
But once you get that contract in your name, then there you go. You have the points and you can use them. And especially for Beach Club, you can use them really just the same as you would use your direct contract. Let's take a look at this graph. Let's talk about what we see here.
So this has a lower initial cost. So you can see with a DVC resale contract, that the initial price is lower than that of a direct price. It's about $16,000. And you will notice that at your 4th stay is when it starts to pay off. And anything beyond that is pretty much gravy. So it makes a lot of sense to get a resale contract if you are planning on going to Disney more than 4 times in the next 20 years.
Yeah, that's really a great deal.
Yeah, you look at that and you say, how can I not afford to do this? If you go fairly frequently, and I think one thing that people don't consider is that with DVC, normally you could roll 3 years together, and then you could have like a big trip where you take a whole bunch of people.
Or maybe 2 years, might be a little safer.
And that's where you could actually have a smaller contract and make it more worth your while. So now you can see that the difference between the direct price of $53,000 and the resale price of $43,000, you save about $10,000. Right, so that's the upcharge you're going to be spending for direct versus resale. But man, is that a savings?
Yeah, really the price difference is just in the purchase.
It's just in the purchase.
The initial price, and then they kind of track together because it's just the same maintenance fees.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just take a moment and kind of recap what type of Disney guest would benefit from these different types of stays at Disney. So we'll kind of go through these in order. Disney, I personally don't think that it's a great idea to pay cash for the Disney Vacation Club room at all. I don't think that's really a great deal for anyone. So I would probably pass on that one. I would recommend that you just pass. Cash stay can be great if you need to add on nights. If flexibility is really, really important to you and you can't plan ahead enough the way that is necessary to book with Disney Vacation Club. Disney Vacation Club is very much dependent on you booking 7 to 11 months before the stay. And if you just aren't somebody who can or will do that, then that's not a great fit for you. And you might need to pay that premium for the cash stay just to have the flexibility to be able to, cancel or move your booking or whatever. The next one would be points rental. You're able to plan far in advance. Then I would say points rental is great. Yeah. Great for someone who isn't ready to make the financial commitment of being a Disney Vacation Club member. And if you don't think you're going to keep going to Disney for years and years and years, that's probably a great choice.
That's not us, though.
No, that's not us. And you know who you are. You know who you are. If you're like really into Disney, you know who you are. I've been going to Disney for 39 years, so I'm not going to stop. The next two categories are if you want to become a DVC owner, and so that would be if you purchase direct or purchase resale, and it's really just a matter of taste. Again, we would encourage you to take a look at our other video that talks about the differences, advantages, disadvantages of those to help you figure out which one is a better fit for you. I am a huge data hound, and I really want the numbers. I want to see the facts. And Randall, you did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Of showing us just, a great comparison. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, if is DVC worth it, if you are going to buy resale, it's going to be worth it in about 4 years.
4 years.
If you buy direct, it's going to be worth it in around 6.
Yeah.
And then the other options are just kind of if they're a better fit for your situation.
I also think it's really amazing to see the difference between getting a hotel room and having a resale contract. The difference in total price, if you were to go for 21 years, is $130,000.
That's remarkable.
It's crazy.
So thank you so much for joining us today. Again, it helps our channel so much if you hit that subscribe button and like this video. And also, we'd love for you to go ahead and comment below, comment on this video and tell us, what option do you like?
Yeah. And if we get enough requests down below, we will consider making another video where we consider something that's more on the other end of this, like say more of a value option.
Or how about like a bungalow or a cabin? We're willing to make different comparison videos. Let us know what you want to see. We're here for you. So comment and tell us what video we should make for you next.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a lot of fun. Remember,
there's magic in the music.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Looking for more Disney, music, DVC, or family fun? Click the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you're notified every time we upload a new video. Thanks for watching.